Welcome back to the Motivated Mind Zone. Glad to have you here. Today we're doing a deep dive into something pretty specific, structured learning for English fluency. You know how most advice is kind of general, like watch movies, read more.
Yeah, the usual stuff. It's helpful, but often lacks direction.
Exactly. But the source material we're looking at today, it's different. It's this incredibly detailed 5-day-a-week strategy. Seriously, it's less like tips and more like a blueprint for actually building fluency systematically.
It really is. And what I find fascinating is how it tackles a core problem right away. Most learners, they gravitate towards what they like, maybe just watching shows, so lots of listening.
Or maybe they just bury themselves in grammar books.
Right. But fluency needs balance across all the key skills.
Yeah.
Reading, writing, listening, speaking, and vocabulary. They're all crucial.
And this plan.
This plan forces that balance. It makes you dedicate time to each one every single week. It's quite clever, actually.
Okay, so our mission today is to break this down. Get to the nuts and bolts of it. We want you, listening right now, to be able to take this structure and we'll basically start using it immediately, like next Monday.
Turn that vague goal of getting fluent into concrete daily actions. That's the idea.
But hang on, before we map out the week, there are some ground rules, right? Prerequisites.
Absolutely. You can't build a solid structure on a shaky foundation. First up is commitment. Time commitment.
How much are we talking?
The plan is built around about an hour a day, a focused hour, Monday through Friday.
An hour a day.
Yeah.
That sounds doable on paper, but 5 days a week consistently, that's often the hurdle.
It is. It really is the biggest challenge. Now, the source does say you can scale it down maybe to 30 minutes if you absolutely have to.
Okay.
But here's the key. Even if it's shorter, most of that time must go to the main focus skill for that day.
So no skipping writing just because you feel like reading more that day.
Exactly. You have to stick to the plan's focus for it to work. Discipline is required.
Got it. And tools, what do you need?
Surprisingly simple, actually. A notebook and a pen.
Old school. I like it.
Me too. And, even in our digital age, there's something powerful about physically writing things down. New words, grammar points. It helps solidify it in your memory.
So the notebook is like your personal progress tracker.
Precisely. It's where everything comes together. But just as important are the media resources.
Ah, yes, those specific choices.
Before you even start week 1, you need to choose 3 things. An English song you like, an English book, and an English TV show.
Why pick them beforehand? Why not just find something each day?
Continuity. That's the magic ingredient here. Using the same core materials all week reduces the mental effort of constantly switching contexts.
Okay, I see.
Think about it. You hear a phrase in the TV show on Wednesday that you actually read in your book on Monday. That connection. It makes the learning stick much better.
So the song, book, and show become anchors for the week's learning.
Exactly. They provide context and repetition. And of course, you need internet access for some parts, news sites, YouTube, maybe those tutoring platforms we'll discuss.
Right.
But the main takeaway before day 1 is commit the time, get the notebook, pick your song, book, and show. Get that set up right.
All right, foundation set. Let's dive into the week itself.
Monday kicks off with the foundation. Reading. This is your primary input day.
And the time commitment here.
You're dedicating the core chunk, about 30 to 40 minutes of your hour, just to reading.
Makes sense to start with input. You need material to work with later.
Precisely. Reading gives you the vocabulary, the sentence structures, the complex ideas that you'll then try to produce yourself later in the week when you're writing or speaking. It fuels the whole system.
And it's not just read something. The plan is specific. First, obviously, read your chosen book.
Yep. Dig into that book you selected.
But what if it's too hard? That's where people often give up.
And the source has a really clever strategy for that. They call it the flip-flop.
The flip-flop. Okay, explain.
It's designed to combat that exact comprehension frustration. The idea is, if you're struggling, try to get your chosen book in both English and your native language.
Okay.
Then you read one chapter entirely in English, push through it, struggle a bit, that's okay.
Then what?
Then you read the next chapter in your native language.
Wait, read it in my own language. Doesn't that defeat the purpose? Kind of feels like cheating.
It sounds like it, right? But it's strategic. The source argues that constant, unrelenting struggle leads to burnout. You'll just quit.
Cool.
By reading the next chapter in your native tongue, you give your brain a slight break, sure, but more importantly, you absorb the story, the plot, the context without the language barrier.
Ah, so when you go back to English for the chapter after that.
Exactly. Your brain already knows what's generally happening in the story. It's not juggling plot and complex grammar. It can focus its energy purely on understanding the English sentence structure and vocabulary.
That's actually really smart. It maintains momentum, but lets you focus better on the language itself when you were reading in English.
It's a tactical retreat, not a surrender.
Yeah.
And the plan stresses diversifying your reading beyond just the book.
Right, reading the news.
Yes, using news apps or websites in English. This is crucial for picking up current, real-world vocabulary, words you might not find in your novel.
Functional language. And also simple Wikipedia.
Highly recommended. Simple Wikipedia is a fantastic resource.
I agree, but sometimes intermediate learners feel like they should be tackling regular Wikipedia. Why the simpler version?
It's about managing complexity. Standard Wikipedia articles can be incredibly dense, grammatically speaking. Long sentences, passive voice, very specialized terms.
Yeah, it can be tough.
Simple Wikipedia uses, well, simpler sentence structures, shorter sentences, more common vocabulary, active voice. It lets you learn about complex topics, history, science, whatever, but presented in a way that helps you clearly see how basic English sentences are built. Subject, verb, object. It clarifies grammar without overwhelming you.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Focus on the structure without getting lost in overly complex phrasing.
Precisely. And while you're doing all this reading the book, the news, simple Wikipedia, that notebook is key.
Vocabulary capture time.
Absolutely. Not just underlining. Actively write down new words, maybe a short definition, or even use it in a quick example sentence you create. This starts moving it from passive recognition to something you might actually use.
Got it. So 30, 40 minutes of core reading, capturing vocab. What about the rest of the hour on Monday?
Integration. You use the remaining 20-30 minutes to lightly touch on the other skills, but, and this is important, linking them directly back to what you just read.
How does it work? So if I just read a chapter in my book,
Yeah.
how do I practice speaking?
Simple. Read a paragraph or two out loud to yourself.
Let's read it aloud.
Yes. It sounds basic, but it's the first step in connecting the written word you see to the sounds you need to make. You practice pronunciation, rhythm, intonation, without the pressure of a conversation. You're building the physical muscle memory for speaking English.
Okay. And writing practice on Monday.
Even simpler. Just copy out a few interesting sentences or a short passage directly from the book.
Like transcription.
Exactly like transcription. It reinforces spelling, punctuation, and you internalize correct sentence patterns by physically writing them out.
And listening.
If you manage to find an audiobook version of your chosen book, listen to a small part of the chapter you just read. Hear the words you were just looking at.
Wow. Okay, so Monday is input through reading, capture the vocab, then immediately do mini practice sessions of speaking, writing, and listening based on that same reading material.
It's a really tight, efficient loop. Input, followed by low-stakes rehearsal across the board, sets you up perfectly for the next day.
Which is Tuesday. Shifting gears now.
Big shift. Monday was about receiving input. Tuesday is all about writing, active production.
Same time commitment, 30, 40 minutes on the core skill.
That's the structure. This is where you start actively using the language patterns and vocabulary you absorbed on Monday, and the exercises are very targeted, especially on grammar.
Grammar focus. Okay. How?
Primarily through tense practice, it forces practical application.
Let's break that down. First task, write 5 things you did yesterday.
Right. This immediately forces you to use the past tense. Think about it. English past tense can be tricky. Irregular verbs like went, saw, ate, or using did correctly. Describing your own actual recent actions makes it concrete, not abstract grammar rules.
Makes sense. You have to recall and use forms like, I went to the shop, I watched TV.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
right after that,
Write 5 things you plan to do tomorrow. Future tense practice.
yep, now you're switching gears. I will go, I am going to meet, I might watch. This rapid switching between past and future description helps solidify the different forms and when to use them. It combats that common learner confusion between time markers.
That's really practical grammar work. What else for writing?
Critical engagement. Write a few sentences about what you like or disliked about the book chapter you read.
Expressing opinions.
Super important for actual conversation. Learning how to say, I thought X was interesting because, or I didn't really like Y, but requires specific phrases and structures. It moves beyond just reporting fact.
Builds conversational muscle. And there's a summarization task, too.
Yes, write 5 to 10 sentences summarizing what you've read in the book so far. Tests comprehension and your ability to synthesize information in your own English words.
Okay, those are solid internal writing tasks. But the plan also suggests writing YouTube comments.
Yeah, I love this one. Go find a few YouTube videos you like, ideally in English, and leave a comment or two.
Why YouTube comments specifically?
It pushes your writing into the real world, even in a small way. When you write in your private notebook, only you see it. When you write a public comment, you naturally start thinking more about clarity. Will someone understand this?
And the potential for interaction.
That's the bonus. If the creator or someone else replies, you get authentic feedback. It makes the writing practice feel communicative, not just an exercise.
Nice. And vocabulary. Still capturing words.
Always. If you're writing and think, what's a better word for good here? And you look up excellent or fantastic, that goes in the notebook. The notebook connects Monday's input to Tuesday's output.
So, after the main writing block, what happens in the rest of the Tuesday hour?
Integration, again, reinforcing the writing. First, simple reading practice. Just read over everything you just wrote. Catch typos, awkward phrasing.
Okay.
Then, for a listening and pronunciation check, use a tool. Google Translate's speaker function is great for this.
How does that work?
You type or paste your English sentence into it and hit the speaker icon. It reads it back to you in a standard native accent.
So you can hear if your sentence sounds natural or maybe a bit strange.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If the computer voice stumbles or it sounds grammatically off, that's a huge clue you might need to revise the sentence structure. It's an auditory proofread.
That's a clever use of technology. And finally, speaking practice.
Read your newly written and checked sentences out loud yourself. Again, connecting the written form to your own verbal production.
So Tuesday is test Monday's learning through structured writing, tenses, opinion, summary, practice public writing, capture vocab, then review by reading, listening via TTS, and speaking your own written work.
You got it. And there's a little flexibility note, too. If you somehow finish all those writing tasks quickly,
Yeah.
don't just stop. Use the remaining time for some light English engagement, maybe some quick drills on Duolingo, or just put on that chosen English song and listen passively. Keep the immersion going gently.
All right. Solid foundations laid Monday and Tuesday. Now we hit the middle of the week, Wednesday.
Wednesday is listening day, pure immersion. The aim here is for listening activities to pretty much fill the entire hour.
Less structured production, more soaking it all in.
Exactly. Listening is where you absorb the rhythm, the flow, the intonation, the little filler words.
Yeah.
All the stuff that makes speech sound natural. Things you just can't get from reading alone. Wednesday is about tuning your ear.
So what are the core listening activities using our pre-selected stuff?
Definitely. Start with watching an episode of your chosen English TV show. You're already getting familiar with the characters, their voices, the context. Makes comprehension easier over time.
And the song.
Listen to your chosen English song multiple times. Repetition is your friend here. You start to really internalize the lyrics, the pronunciation, the musicality of the language. It sticks in your head.
Oh, show and song. What else?
Watch some other English YouTube videos too. Pick topics you're genuinely interested in. Could be cooking, gaming, science, whatever. The key is exposure to different voices, accents, and natural conversational styles.
And if you found that audiobook,
Perfect day to listen to a chapter or two of your chosen book's audiobook. You're hearing the language you've been reading and writing about. It reinforces everything beautifully. Recognizing words you've studied really boosts confidence.
it sounds quite passive, though. Just watching and listening. Is the notebook involved?
Good question. Yes. Absolutely crucial. Even during this passive immersion, you need to be an active listener. Hear a cool slang word on the TV show, a useful phrase on YouTube. Write it down.
So capture those real-world nuggets.
Exactly. If you hear someone say, I'm knackered, and you figure out it means tired, jot it down. That's how passive listening becomes active learning. The notebook keeps bridging the gap.
Okay, so the hour is mostly filled with this varied listening. What if there's a little time left over, or you want to integrate other skills?
There are optional links back. You could do a little writing about the TV show episode, or maybe jot down how the song makes you feel, practicing that opinion emotion language from Tuesday.
But there's one technique mentioned that seems especially important for setting up the next day. Shadowing.
Yes, shadowing. This is incredibly powerful for pronunciation and fluency, but often misunderstood.
How does it work properly?
You listen to a short phrase or sentence from, say, your TV show, and you try to repeat it immediately after the actor, mimicking them as closely as possible, like an echo or a shadow.
So not just repeating the words, but copying the sound.
Precisely. You're focusing on the intonation, the rhythm, the stress patterns, the melody of the speech. You're training your mouth muscles to move in the English way. It's physical practice for your accent.
And singing along to the song.
Same principle. It's a musical form of shadowing. Great for rhythm and flow.
Wow. Okay, so Wednesday is deep listening immersion, capturing vocab, and priming the pump for pronunciation with shadowing. Which brings us to
Thursday, speaking day. This is it, the big output day.
where everything comes together, time commitment.
Again, 30 to 40 minutes of that hour must be dedicated to active speaking, producing language.
Now, the source material gets pretty opinionated here about the best way to do this, doesn't it?
It does. It strongly recommends what it calls the premium strategy. If you can swing it financially, hire a native English tutor for that 30, 40-minute slot.
Using services like Reply, Cambly, italki for a video call.
Exactly. A live conversation with a native speaker.
Why is this considered so much better than just talking to yourself?
It's not just about the practice itself, although that's invaluable. The source highlights a powerful psychological effect.
Which is?
Having that scheduled paid appointment acts as a massive motivator for the entire rest of the week.
How so? Explain that connection. How does a Thursday tutor session make my Monday reading better?
It's about accountability. And maybe a bit of sunk cost fallacy or loss aversion working for you. You've paid for this session, right? You don't want to show up and just sit there silently, wasting your money and the tutor's time.
Right, I'd feel obligated to prepare.
Precisely. Knowing you have to talk about your book or the TV show with a real person on Thursday makes you pay much closer attention when you're reading on Monday. You'll capture vocabulary more diligently on Tuesday. You'll listen more actively on Wednesday.
Because you know you'll actually need to use that knowledge.
Yes. It transforms your passive learning and low-stakes practice into genuine preparation for a real communicative event. The tutor isn't just a conversation partner. They become an external deadline, a forcing function that sharpens your focus all week long.
That's a really powerful insight into motivation. But, okay, let's be real. Tutoring costs money. What if that's just not an option?
Totally valid. The plan has a budget or solo strategy. It requires more self-discipline, but it's definitely workable.
What's the task then?
You still have to speak out loud for that simo 40 minutes. The method. Narrate your life. Talk to yourself.
Narrate my life. Give me examples. What does that actually sound like?
It means turning your inner thoughts into outer speech in English. So if you're making coffee, you say out loud, okay, I need to get the coffee beans. Where did I put the grinder? Here it is. Let's measure this out.
So, describing actions and surroundings.
Exactly. It looks like it might rain later. That bird is singing really loudly. I wonder what kind of bird it is. The goal is to force your brain to constantly form English sentences about your immediate reality, bypassing the comfort zone of thinking in your native language.
Okay. Requires discipline, but definitely active practice. And the rest of the hour on Thursday.
Reinforcement. Keep making noise. Read more of your book out loud. Sing your chosen song out loud. Really belt it out. Continue shadowing those actors from the TV show, mimicking their lines. Thursday is all about verbal output.
Got it. Monday reading, Tuesday writing, Wednesday listening, Thursday speaking. We've hit the 4 core skills. What's left for Friday?
Friday is vocabulary day, pure retention and consolidation.
So the whole hour is just focused on words.
The entire hour, think about it. If you've been diligent Monday through Thursday, your notebook is probably packed with new words and phrases you encounter.
Right, from the reading, the show, the tutor session, or narration.
Exactly. But just writing them down isn't enough. If you don't actively review and memorize them, most will just evaporate. Friday is damage control for forgetting.
Makes sense. So the mission for Friday.
Simple but crucial. Make sure all those new words you collected during the week actually stick. Move them into your active, usable vocabulary.
How do you spend the hour doing that?
It starts easy. First, just read through all the new words and their definitions in your notebook. Refresh your memory.
Yep.
Then, say the new words out loud. Hear yourself pronounce them. Connect the visual to the auditory again.
Still fairly passive review. Then what?
Then comes the active part. You must use the new words in new sentences, your own sentences.
Not just recalling the definition, but actually using the word.
Yes. If you learn the word essential, don't just think means important. Write or say something like, getting enough sleep is essential for learning, or this notebook is an essential tool. Creating your own context is key for real ownership.
Okay, active usage. And what about tools for memorization? Flashcards.
Absolutely. The plan suggests 2 main routes. Digital tools like Quizlet are fantastic. You can input all your week's words and definitions, and it drills you.
And Quizlet often uses spaced repetition, right? Showing you the hard words more often.
Exactly. It optimizes the review process. You'd spend the hour drilling those Quizlet sets until you're getting most of them right consistently.
And the low-tech option.
Good old-fashioned methods work just as well. Making physical flashcards, or simply repeatedly writing the words and definitions out by hand. The physical act itself aids memory for many people.
So choose the method that works for you, digital or analog.
The method doesn't matter as much as the act of dedicated, focused memorization. Friday is about locking down the wits gains.
It feels like a really necessary cool down or consolidation period after the intensity of the other days.
It really is. It prevents that feeling of constantly adding new stuff without ever mastering the old. You end the week with a clear sense of what you've actually learned.
Okay, 5 days, 5 focuses. We've made it through the week. What about the weekend, Saturday and Sunday? Burnout recovery time.
Yes, but it's structured recovery. The weekend has 2 main goals according to the plan: rest and preparing your resources for the next week's cycle.
Resource renewal. So, finding the next things.
Exactly. Use the weekend downtime to find your new English song for the upcoming week. If you finished your book, get the next one lined up, library, online order, whatever. Same for the TV show, pick the next season or a new series.
So you hit Monday ready to go with fresh material. Keeps it interesting.
Prevents boredom, which is a major killer of motivation and language learning, but just as important.
Rest.
Explicitly, yes. The source emphasizes the value of taking a complete break if you need it. Don't feel guilty about not studying on Saturday or Sunday.
Why is a break so important?
Your brain actually does a lot of consolidation and memory processing during downtime and sleep. Pushing constantly without rest can lead to cognitive overload and diminishing returns. A good break refreshes you, making your study time next week more effective.
Rest is productive. I like that.
It truly is. Don't underestimate it.
Okay, so let's recap this whole structure. It's a really comprehensive system. 5 days, hitting the 5 core skills deliberately. Monday, reading input. Tuesday, writing output, focusing on grammar. Wednesday, listening immersion. Thursday, speaking output, ideally with accountability. Friday, vocabulary consolidation.
And each day dedicating about an hour with the bulk of it on that day's specific skill, using consistent resources like your chosen book, song, and show, plus that vital notebook.
It really shifts the focus from just passively hoping to get better to actively building the skills in a balanced way.
Absolutely. And the beauty is how the skills feed into each other. The reading informs the writing, the listening informs the speaking, the vocab underpins everything. It's an ecosystem.
Nothing gets left behind, which often happens when learners just focus on what they enjoy or find easy.
Right. This forces that balanced development and that insight about Thursday's speaking session.
The tutor's acting as a motivator for the whole week.
Yeah, that idea of scheduling external accountability, how putting that one fixed point in your week, something with stakes, like a paid session, can dramatically increase the quality and focus of all the preparation leading up to it. It boosts internal drive through an external structure.
Which leads us to a really interesting final thought for you, the listener, to ponder. This plan uses a tutor appointment as a potential external driver for internal motivation. So the question is, what other kinds of external structures could you maybe build into your life for any kind of learning or goal that would create that same effect, that same pressure-tested commitment that enhances your effort throughout the entire process?
Could it be signing up for a 5K race to motivate your running, setting a hard deadline with a friend for finishing a creative project, finding ways to create positive external pressure to boost your internal drive?
Something to think about. Find your structure, find your resources, maybe find your accountability point, and start building.
Pick your book, pick your song, pick your show. Get that notebook ready.
Fantastic. Thanks for breaking that down for us. And thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time on the Motivated Mind Zone.